And we are back live right here from the Soaring Casino, Mid-Michigan, Paracon, Mount Pleasant, Michigan. And folks, like I said, it has been amazing here. The room is filled with amazing people. And I feel sorry for this guy because he's been hearing me talk all weekend long. This is John from the Otherside Paranormal and Mortuary Science Museum.
It's a mouthful, isn't it?
He's got some pretty amazing artifacts just alongside of me over here. John, welcome to TPV Nation. So what is it that the Mortuary Science Museum is about?
Well, it's a two-faceted museum. On one side of it's paranormal. So it's all these different items that we have collected through paranormal investigations or things that were dumped off to us from people that said, I don't want it in my house, it's your problem now. The other side of it is the mortuary science. Yes. So we get items that we collect from funeral homes that over the last 100 years. Wow, so lots of history behind this stuff.
So paranormal investigations, how long have you been a paranormal investigator?
My wife and I have been in the community for 30 years.
Wow, that's amazing. So you guys experience a lot. So right now, we'd like to ask a lot of people, what's your creepiest, freakiest story, anything that's ever happened to you that made you stand back and go, wow?
Well, we are skeptics. We are skeptics that have worked in this community for 30 years. Now, that doesn't mean we don't believe. It means we don't believe everything's a ghost and not everything's haunted. So when we watch these different shows on TV that we all watch, we just see people getting scratched, touched, possessed all the time. Right. In 30 years, I've never been touched. Never. Neither is my wife. Last August, I got touched. I got scratched in the calf. The marks are there. We got a picture of it in our museum.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday on your table, and I was like, that's pretty badass.
Yeah, we tried to debunk it. I thought it was fire ants. We tried to debunk it, could not debunk it, so what are you left with? At least something paranormal. So
and that should be true to form. As a paranormal investigator myself, been over 15 years I've been doing this. I mean, really, I've been a part of the paranormal world since for the last 32 years of my life. I'll say 42 years of my life. I underage myself there for a second.
We gotta.
But I mean, people need to stop and think about this because you have to logically think it all through and not just automatically assume because something bumps in the night, something falls over. You know, you got to think of the logic behind all of it instead of just jumping in and say, oh, it's got to be paranormal because I don't see nothing. And it's not true that other things can be the source of the issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
So being a skeptic in this industry, it's a good thing because you just don't want to believe everything is paranormal. And scientifically speaking, and that's basically what the paranormal is. It is something that can't be explained by science.
Right. And that's what we tell people all the time. We tell people when they come into the museum, when they're like, no, I don't believe any of this. I'm just here for the entertainment value. Okay. And we try to educate them. It's like, no, you don't want to be wide open because then you're just believing and falling for everything. Right. Open up a little bit, let that in, process it, try to debunk it. If you can't, or if you're just making up illogical things to try to explain what happened to you, you know, maybe you shouldn't believe, but open up a little bit, let that in, process it, and you'll be surprised how much more things you're going to see and experience. Because most people that don't believe it all, it's because they're closed off. Right. They're not allowing this to open up, so they just shut it out right off the bat.
Oh yeah, and I mean, it's also too, it's how we're grown up, raised to believe what's real, what's not real. But yeah, you have to open yourself up and think of the possibilities and consider we are definitely not alone on this world. Cryptid, UFOs, ghosts, whatever it might be. I mean, have an open mind is the perfect resolution.
Yes.
And try to think about scientifically. I mean, I know not all of us are scientists or have a scientist, but I mean, rationality. You know, when you're in an old abandoned building and you hear like the smallest crack in the window can make it sound like a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, a lot of people don't take that into consideration. Like, I get EVP sent to me and go, oh, listen to this. I hear a ghost talking. Okay, what location were you in? And if I was in that same location, I'll be like, okay, were you by this certain area? Because the windows are not sealed properly, or The doors are like off a little bit, so that every little wind that comes through, it's an explanation. And they get disappointed because I disprove a lot of things. But like I tell people, not everything is real. And don't be disappointed because it might not be accurate this time, but you don't want to put something out there and say, oh, this is real, and then have somebody disprove it. And you'll be upset with yourself because that's the one thing. You put your material out there, you're going to be criticized by everybody.
Oh, yeah. You're definitely scrutinized, whether you're a skeptic or just believe in everything. When it comes down to it, you got to stick to your guns.
Yep.
Own that. If you're an investigator, own up what you're putting out there.
Oh, yeah.
So make sure what you're putting out there is to the best of your ability, the best evidence you could gather, and stand by it, and be able to explain why you think it's paranormal, why you think it's a spirit or a ghost. We do the same thing. We'll stand by our evidence, whether we debunked it or it's real paranormal evidence.
Absolutely. So anybody who's watching out there today, tomorrow, next week, whenever this video gets to them, and they want to come by your museum, where is it located, and what would be how would they be able to do just that?
Okay, we're in Lansing, Michigan, like you mentioned in the beginning. We are in the downtown area of Lansing, which actually in the Reeltown district, which is just over the highway in the historical Reeltown district at 1023 South Washington. We've got the museum in there. We've got our oddities and curiosity shop, Voodoo's World of Antiques, and our production company. So.
Now, if somebody wants to reach out to you and say, John, I've got something that's not feeling right in my house, would you come down and investigate? How would they be able to do that?
Same thing. Get a hold of us through our many different social media ways, through our website, which is screamcraftstudio.com. But then all of our Facebook stuff, the Otherside Paranormal Mortuary Science Museum Facebook page, the Voodoo's World of Antiques Facebook page, the Screencraft Studio page. So there's lots of ways they can get a hold of us. We'll talk to you about it and see what we do.
Absolutely. So, John, I want to thank you. Take your time, come over here, talk to us as the TPV Nation. And, folks, reach out to John, visit his museum. Because if they got a lot more of the creepy stuff like we see over here, he's got a human skull over. He's got a really fascinating doll. What did they 18-something on that doll?
It's a Civil War era doll, 1860 to 1870, but it's a replica of an 1802 doll that was made during the Civil War. That's the little tag you see, 1802. But it was a replica, and there's a little girl that inhabits that particular doll.
So absolutely amazing things. Go down, visit their museum, check them out, talk to them because they're fascinating. I'm learning a lot over here listening to him talk. But, folks, in the meantime and in between, we appreciate everybody. We're going to be back a little bit later on with another fantastic guest. Happy huntings.